multi-textured hot air balloon. So grab your supplies and we're gonna get started. I'm gonna make sure I have everything I need and then we'll be ready to go. And as you join, go ahead and say hi. So the first thing we're gonna start with is our paper plate. So we're gonna go ahead and grab our paper plate. All right, awesome. So any paper plate will do. I know some are a little bit more flimsy and you can bend them, and some are a little bit more stiff. But as long as you have a paper plate to start with, that's all you need. So I'm gonna show you and kind of talk through what we're gonna do first so you know what to do with your scissors. So here's our example. This is what we're gonna be creating. So you can see that. And I'm gonna flip it over so you can see actually what we're cutting out. So as you can see, the bottom of the hot air balloon, we're gonna have it almost like a rectangle. That's where the bottom of our balloon is gonna be, and we're gonna attach our strings there. So that's the first cut we're going to do. Then you'll notice, let me put this a little bit closer to you. You'll notice we kind of come up at an angle, so like a diagonal. And then we're gonna cut around. For me, let's see if you can see that. See the edges I have right here? It's kind of hard with the reflection. Yeah, that's better. I'm gonna try to cut right underneath those edges. Hi, Lucy and Gabriel. So we're gonna do that right there, okay? So let's do that first. And I'm gonna hold it up so you can kind of see. What I would say is, the best way to describe it is it's like 4 of my fingers long, maybe 5. So maybe if you take your fist and you put it, you can figure out how long you want to make it. It doesn't really matter, as long as you have a square bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut straight up, so a straight line, and then another straight line. I'm going to make mine a little bit bigger. I think it's better to make it larger than smaller. So let me go ahead and see if you can that so you can see. That's kind of like my cutout. I know it's hard. The white is just so bright in the sun. I'll take a sunny day any day, but it's making it hard to see. So next, I'm just going to cut at an angle so that I kind of create the bottom part of the balloon. So you're going to do that on both sides. Create an angle. All right? And again, I'll flip up these pieces so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Okay. Awesome. And then I'm just going to go around on the inside of the plate. And we'll be able to like round it out as we do it. So just try to stay underneath those bumps. It doesn't matter if it's not perfectly round right now. We can fix that. So I'm going to cut it out and then I'm going to pause for a minute just so you have a chance to also cut your balloon. I know I have bigger scissors, so I might be going faster than you. So it's kind of what it should look like. Again, don't worry if it doesn't look exactly like this, it will still come out great. So again, you're starting with what looks like a rectangle, those straight cuts. Then we go at a diagonal on both sides, and then we just cut around the inside. So maybe I can even show you too. This is kind of what you're left with, the outside of your paper plate. Awesome. So I bent mine over. Now I'm going to start working on this kind of as the hot air balloon. See how mine kind of bumps a little? I lay it down so that it's bumped up and I can flatten it down. You can use either side. Pick whichever side you want to use. All right, we're going to move on to the next part. The next part is we're going to draw lines on our hot air balloon. So here, I'm going to hold this up a little bit closer so you can see. I wanted to know where I needed to put all my different textures. So this is a multi-textured hot air balloon. That's a big word. What does it mean? All the textures are things that feel different. So I have stickers, I have some cotton balls, I have some tissue paper, I have these really cool butterflies that are bumpy, and then I have pom-poms. I have a bunch of different things. But we need to know where are we gonna put those. So we're gonna make some lines so we know how to fill them in. I'll explain that as we go. So the first thing, you're gonna need a pencil. I don't know if I put that on your supply list, but go ahead and grab one. I know most of us have one around. Go ahead and grab a pencil because you're gonna need that to make lines. And then I'm gonna draw my line and I'll hold it up and show you. What I'm doing is essentially drawing like a ruler right down the middle. So it's about the same width as a ruler. It's two straight lines. They're parallel, so they go right next to each other. So I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna show it to you. Just like that. So it's about the same width as a ruler. And you stop when you get right to the bottom here. So again, that is what it's going to look like. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to end up drawing two lines on either side of our ruler. We'll just call it a ruler so we know what we're talking about. So again, there's your lines right down the middle. Now, the next lines are actually going to have a curve to them. That's going to make our balloon look inflated or like it's blown up. So I'm going to do one here and I'm going to show you. You again do it about a ruler's length. All right. Now look at how different this line is. Nana, do you think you could help me move the iPad a little bit? Nana's here as my IT person. She's helping me.
Which way?
Try to just move the actual iPad just so this isn't so bright. Oh, I might have actually gotten it. I want our friends to be able to see these lines. It's just so bright from our...
I think if you tip it down.
Yeah. Can you see that all right? All right. Awesome. So see how this line is different? It's curved. So we're going to do that on one side, and then we're going to do it on the other. Just like that. So both sides have a curved line. And then we're going to do one more on each side. So it ends up looking like this. So you start with your ruler, those two straight lines, and then you add a curved line on both sides, and then another curved line on both sides. It should end up with 7 different parts of your balloon. So you can count, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Awesome. Okay. So make sure you go ahead and get your lines on. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to work on the string that we are going to hang our basket from. So this is our basket here that hangs. I would say you can make your string however long you want. This one's probably, I think I ended up cutting it about 9 inches, between 9 and 12 inches long. We are going to tie it to the basket, so you want a little bit of extra string. So I would say probably 12 inches if you have a ruler. If not, you can just estimate. The best way to do that is I would take your string and just hold it up to where your hot air balloon is. And then go down and kind of measure where you want your basket to be and leave a little bit extra to tie. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna, let's see, I'm gonna leave a little bit of extra here. We're also gonna be tying it to the hot air balloon as well. So it's good to have a little bit of extra. So once you have your string, you can go ahead and cut 4 more pieces so they match up. And I'm trying to go kind of at a learner's pace, we'll call it, but if I'm going too fast, just let me know. So to cut the strings the same, I'm just lining them up. And then cutting that. And we need 4 total, 4 strings. It's gonna look like we have 2 in the back and 2 in the front. Awesome. So we have 4 strings here. And then I'm just gonna lay them there for a minute. Put my string away, give you some time to cut your strings as well. And the next thing we're gonna be using is our hole punch, so if you have that, that would be awesome. Great, so you should have your 4 strings, however length you want. I'd say again, between probably 9 and 12 inches is best. We're gonna take our hole punch. We're gonna take our balloon again that has our lines already on it. And what we're gonna do is we're going to hole punch the side. Each side is gonna get a hole punch, and I'll show you what it looks like. We're doing one on the top of the rectangle and one on the bottom of the rectangle, just like that. Awesome, so 2 on one side and 2 on the other. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start tying the strings onto our hot air balloon. So what I recommend is that you string, or you put your string through the hole and then tie it. So my hole punch is fairly larger, so I can't really just tie a knot in the back, it would slip right through. So I'm gonna actually tie it to the paper plate. So let me show you what I mean. I'm gonna feed it through, and then I'm gonna tie a knot right around the side of it, and I'll probably even double knot it. So let's see if you can see what that is. See how it's tied right around the side? And then I'm gonna just drop it. If you wanna move the knot to the back, that's probably best, because that's where it's gonna hang. So again, I just knotted it like to the paper plate. So there's kind of a knot on the side, but we can move it around. And then I'm gonna do the others the same exact way. So again, I suggest that you feed it through the hole and tie it on, but however you want to attach it, it doesn't really make a difference. And I just double knot it so that it doesn't slip out. And don't worry if your strings end up different lengths, that won't matter when we put the basket on. So there's 2 of my strings just tied on. And we're gonna do the other 2 now. You can really use whatever string you want. I just loved this string with the pink and the white because it was so colorful. It's one of the things I love about this craft is like you can make it multiple times and just change the textures that you use, and your hot air balloon will look completely different. Like you'll see today, the one I'm making looks different than the one I made earlier. So there's my 3rd string being tied on. And now we're gonna do our last one. And don't worry, like you can see I have some tails, we call them when we tie it. Here's my string, there's my tail. I can just cut that in a few minutes, so that's okay if you have that. I know tying knots can be tricky, so if you need help, that's all right. So when you're done tying, it kind of looks like that. Now I can trim some of this off, and I might do that now. So I'll do that as you finish tying yours. I'm just trimming the tails off like we talked about. One more. Awesome. So here it is again, just to make sure we're all caught up. Great. So the next part we're going to create is the basket, because we need something for the people to go in. So what you'll need for this is a brown paper bag. And we're just going to be using this bottom part. So can you find the flap on your brown paper bag? You don't have to unfold it. We're actually going to keep it flat, just like this. And you can see where this fold is. It actually creates a perfect line for us to cut across. So we're going to go ahead and cut it right here. So I'll show you with my scissors. I'm just going to use that line, and I'm going to go just like this. So it makes a big rectangle. And this part you can save for a different project because we don't need it for this one. So I'm going to put it underneath with my other supplies. So here it should just look like the foot of the bag. And now we do have one more step with this, because this would be a very big basket for our hot air balloon. So we're going to cut it. So hold the rectangle just like this. And we're going to cut it right in the middle. Just like that. So you can pick either one, it doesn't matter. I'm going to pick this one, and I'm going to save this for a different project. So now you should have a tinier basket, just like this. And what you want to do is you're actually going to tip it like this. Now this is something you're going to have to look for. So one side is going to be kind of like all open. It's going to be all these pieces because we just cut it. But this other side is completely sealed. So that's how you know you have it the right direction, and then this is open. So one is a fold of the bag, or I guess two sides of it. And then you should find this one that kind of has pages to it. Honestly, it's not going to matter. What we're creating here is a pocket for the person. So that's why right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue on these pages so that I have a seal here with glue. I have a fold and a fold. It's going to create a pocket. So if that makes sense, if not, feel free to ask questions. I know this is kind of a tricky part, but this way we can find something for our person to go in. I'm just going to use a glue stick. If you have liquid glue, that's fine too, but I find that a glue stick works best. So what I'm going to do is I'll put the glue on and then kind of show you. I'm just putting the glue on the edge like that because again we're creating a basket or a pocket, and then I'm using my fingers to push it down. And then I find the next page. So this is separated. So I'm going to do the same thing. Put some glue on just the edge, and I'm going to seal it up with my fingers. And I think that's all I have for pieces. Let's see here. And then, so that's kind of what you're creating. That's what you're looking for. That's your basket. So see, I don't have an open side. Okay. All right, so I'm going to give you a minute. I'm going to close up my glue. That way you can glue your pages as well. And the next thing you're going to want is your hole punch. So as you finish up, go ahead and grab your hole punch. This is all the hard work to get it all set up, and then we get the fun creative part where we get to decorate our hot air balloon. All right, so we'll jump into the balloon. Don't worry if you are falling a little bit behind. We're going to catch up to the point where we're just going to be decorating our balloon, so you'll still have time to do the steps. And I'll be here live still, so if you have questions, I'm happy to show you again, so don't worry. The next part, we're going to take our pocket or our basket, so you can see again. And what we're going to do is we're going to hole punch. Let me show you this. Hole punch the front of the basket. I gotta get it in there, hold on. Just at the top. So this is the front part of my basket. So this front part right here has a hole here and has a hole here. That's gonna be for 2 of our strings. And then I'm gonna flip it, and this is the back wall of my basket, and I'm gonna do the same exact thing for the other 2 strings. I try to keep them like kind of lined up. It's hard to do, but. Okay. So now I actually have a hole all the way through because I did line them up, which was very lucky. Worked out well. So I have 2 holes on my front part of my basket. And then I have 2 holes on the back part of my basket. Okay. So that's our next step. So go ahead and work on that. We are done with our hole punch after this, so if you want to put it aside, you can. All right, so now we're gonna move on to the next step, which is gonna be attaching our strings to the basket. So what I'm gonna do, it kind of depends however you wanna do it. You wanna pick, let's do it this way. Your bottom 2 strings, right here. So you see the ones that are looped in to this hole and this hole. We're gonna tie those on to the back of the basket. So that's a little bit tricky, but what we do is, I'm gonna put these top strings, I'm gonna pull them up so they're out of my way. So that I'm just working with these bottom 2 strands. I make the back of my basket the one that has the folds, but if you kind of like that, I mean, it kind of looks like a basket, you can make that your front. You can pick which side you want. We can even draw on it later to make it look more like a basket as well. So I'm taking my pocket and finding that back page, and that's what I'm going to tie. Now, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, whoever is helping you, this is where it gets a little bit tricky of trying to get the strings the same length. So there really is no trick to this, but this is like the easiest way for me to do it. I feed them into the holes however you want, and then I try to pull them to be about the same length so that they're straight and the basket's straight. I'm gonna see if I can kind of pinch this to show you. So I have them folded in there so that my basket's pretty much straight and my hot air balloon is straight. You can see that. And now I'm just gonna tie them. So this way I know going into tying them that they're the same length. Don't worry, I had to untie them and tie them again, so it's just kind of a learning process. But again, you're just making a knot. Don't tie too tight because sometimes it does rip the bag. But, try to make sure I have these the same length. And then I'll show you what it looks like as I tie it too. So you get the idea. Again, don't worry if you have tails hanging, we'll just trim them off. Or I actually even tucked them in my hot air balloon last time. So here's the back side of my basket. Awesome. And now, so I'm going to show you the front of my hot air balloon again with my lines. And I'm going to take these top strings, and these are going to go into the front holes of my basket. So here we have our basket again. And you see those 2 front holes that don't have anything tied to them, that's where we're gonna tie them now. So I'm gonna go ahead and work on that. You do the same thing, pull them through lightly, carefully to make sure they're at the height that you want, and then you can tie them. pull them straight. It's not perfectly straight, it'll just look like your hot air balloon is blowing in the wind. Okay, so maybe a knot there, and you'll see like that knot I have to loosen a little because it wasn't exactly right. See, mine's kind of like has a loose string and a more tight one, so I'm just gonna loosen that front one a little. Maybe. Maybe my knot tying skills are so good. I guess I need to loosen it, yeah. And then tie it again. Yeah, so those are the two that I have tied right now. They match a lot better. So now I'll try the other one. We're getting lots of practice tying knots today on this craft. So I'm finding that the first knot that I make, if I make it loose enough, then I can still move the string. And then once I have it in the place where I like it, I can double knot it. So, oh, that one, same thing happened. I like mine like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim off some of the tails. I actually love that you can see the knots on the basket because I think that's so cool. The one I had made before, I kind of hid my knots, but I think this one looks really cool like this. So I might leave some of my tails on a little bit because I don't want it to unravel. Sometimes when you cut tails off knots, it makes it unravel, so I'm gonna leave a little bit on. This is gonna be essentially our last step of like the structure of our balloon, and then the fun part comes where we'll start to color it or put on fun textures and do everything like that. So here again, you can see my stripes and our basket. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and keep going. Again, don't worry, we're pretty much to the part where we're just gonna start working and doing our own thing to make our balloon our own and make it unique. So if you need to catch up, you'll have plenty of time to do that. So the next part is let's start to decorate our balloon. And then the last thing we'll do is if you have a photo of yourself, I had mentioned that if you wanted to do a photo of yourself like waving, I have one from mine that I created, just like this. If you wanted to do that, we're gonna cut them out. I have a different one here today that I'm gonna cut out. It always takes me a while to cut around the fingers, so I saved that to cut that with you. We're gonna do that in a little bit. If you don't have a photo of you, that's completely fine. What you're gonna do is you're gonna draw a picture of yourself and cut it out, and then you can put it in the basket. And I'd love to see your drawings of yourself, because that's always so fun. So the next part, we're gonna do the same thing for kind of each section of our hot air balloon. So here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with my middle section. And what I would suggest is, I suggested that you get 7 different textures. So I have some tissue paper, I have some sequins, I have yarn, I have tape, I have pom-poms. You can use whatever you want. And if you only have like 3 different textures, just do them on different parts of your balloon. That's fine. You don't have to have 7. We're actually gonna repeat our favorite texture and put it on the bottom. So you'll have it on there twice. So what I'm gonna do now is whatever material you have that's pretty straight. So if you have paper, if you have tape, I would say to put that in the middle because that's gonna be the easiest one to put down to kind of make it straight. So I think I'm gonna start with, I actually have some aluminum foil. I think I might try to make a piece of aluminum foil that fits that. Now, if you have paper and you wanna rip it up, you can do that. So if I wanted to, what I could do is I could rip up pieces, and I might even do that, of my aluminum foil and put it on. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna start with my glue stick. For this craft, unless you feel like you really need to use your liquid glue, I would try to use your glue stick, because it dries faster and your pieces won't move all over your hot air balloon. So I'm gonna start in the middle, and I'm just gonna put a little bit of glue in my middle section, and I'm gonna show you. This is how I work. If you wanna put glue on the whole strip, you can, but sometimes it dries fast. So I just put a little just like that, and then I rip up whatever I'm using, or if it's a piece of tape, I put the tape down, and I'm gonna fill in that section. So go ahead and start on whatever section you want, and I'm gonna show you kind of what I'm doing, so that if you need an idea, I know most of us have aluminum foil in the house, and you're like, oh, I want aluminum foil, it's shiny and it's cool. You can go grab some aluminum foil. Wow, it's very windy here today. Would not be a good day to be in a hot air balloon. That, or I guess you get the ride of your life. Let's see. Okay. So I'm just gonna show you what I'm doing, so you kind of get the idea. So you can see my aluminum foil, I'm just filling it in between those two lines. So maybe you're using cotton balls, go ahead and do that. If you're using anything heavy, like the pom-poms, or I had the butterflies that I had gotten at the Dollar Tree, those were a little bit heavier. I did use liquid glue because it just held them better. So you might need to use your liquid glue. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish working on my first centerpiece. And I'm just ripping up my aluminum foil to make pieces that fit. Don't worry if you go over the lines, that's not a problem. Sometimes it's hard to get your pieces to fit just right. It will still look great. If you have crayons or markers, you could just color each section different. Yours would just be a colored hot air balloon instead of a multi-textured one. That would still work. Construction paper is another great thing. And then I'm going to show you when you get to the bottom, we're leaving that rectangle empty for right now because that's going to have its own texture to show that it's the bottom of the balloon. So I'll show you what I mean right now as I finish up this section. Perfect. Oh, I love the aluminum foil. It's shiny and it fits perfect. So see how I didn't go, let's see if I can get it in focus for you. I didn't go down past kind of where the bumps are. I kind of went to where the bumps are. Because what you're going to be doing is you're going to be putting a different texture right here. So that's why you kind of leave it that way, if that makes sense. Awesome. So I'm going to move on to my next texture. You do the same at your own pace. If you're still working on your first strip or stripe of the balloon, that's awesome. I think I'm gonna go with, I have some sequins here that I think would be fun if I put those on. But maybe I'll do some blue tape. So the other thing I wanted to mention to you, and I'll show you with this one, is if for some reason you have a really big piece of paper, if you have stickers, I did stickers on my last one, and for some reason it sticks off your balloon. So whether or not when we get over here and it's sticking off, or right now you can see that it's sticking right here, what you can do is just trim it. That's actually what I loved about this, was I could just trim whatever material and it made it nice and round. So especially as we start to work towards the edges, you might find that you have stickers that you're using or pieces of scrapbooking paper that are sticking off. We'll just cut them. So don't worry about that. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and finish with my blue tape. And if you have ideas of things you're using that you want to share, feel free to put it in the comments. You can tell us about different textures that you're using, because sometimes that's the best way to get ideas, is to talk to your friends who are doing the same thing and be like, what did you use? That's how I get some of my best ideas, is from other people. And again, try to follow the lines as much as you can. Like, it's okay to go over them, but remember we're trying to keep the outside lines curved so the balloon looks like it's inflated. I think I need to cut some of this. There we go. To show you what this looks like. Just a second. Oh, pulling up my tape. Got caught to itself. Sometimes I find too that I need more glue, like something would fall off. That's fine, just go back and fix it. I love this tape because I can make it whatever shape I want. Okay, so let me show you what I did with my tape. So again, you can see it's not perfectly straight, but that's okay. It's still gonna give it the effect that we want, that it looks like it's inflated. All the Great, so I'm gonna keep watching. And let's see. What do we wanna do next? I'll do some sequins on this side. I have some yarn here too. Maybe I'll do the yarn next. So if you're using ribbon at all or yarn, what I did was just made really long pieces and let them stick all the way off the balloon, and then I trimmed them like I just talked about. So for this part, what I'm gonna do is kind of measure the length, have them hang over a little bit, and then I'm just gonna trim them. Tape's all stuck to my scissors. I really enjoyed making this hot air balloon because it is fun to see like all the textures you have around your house. You don't even realize. So next, I'm gonna use my liquid glue. Well, I guess I could try let's try, like I said, the glue stick usually works best because it dries faster in my opinion. But let's see. And what I'm gonna do with my string is I'm actually gonna try to curve it a little bit. Now this is where hands get messy, but that doesn't bother me. Yeah, glue stick is working, so I would recommend that if you can. And I'm excited because this yarn is like multicolored, so it's gonna look really good. It does take some patience, so let me show you what I'm doing. So I've put some glue stick, you can see the purple there. And then what I'm doing is just bending it, and again, it's okay that it sticks off. We'll trim the top, and the bottom's just gonna be covered with a different texture, so it won't really matter. And I'm just pushing the string, so whatever texture you have, just push it into the glue. And usually you can move it, like it doesn't dry right away, so that makes it great because then you can just move it or cut it, whatever you need to do. So there's that. I know what I do, I was like, I had a lot of green. I'm gonna try to pull this to get some other colors. I'm so excited to see how yours comes out, what colors you're picking, what textures you're picking. And like I said, it's so fun because you can make a bunch of these and just change what textures or what material you use, and it looks like a completely different balloon. Let's see. My glue might be drying fast on me. Let's see. If you think your glue is dry, I would definitely just put more on. You don't want your stuff falling off. Alright, I'm gonna show you. So this is kind of what it looks like with my string so far. So you can see the bottom here, I have the jagged edges. These ones are really long. I'm gonna cut them in just a second. And then you can see up here, I have a bunch hanging off. But I cut them long so that I knew they would fit the balloon. So there's that. And this one, I might have to start a little bit lower to make it curved. Glue. So then, let's see if you can see this. So I actually started a few pieces here and here so that it would make it rounded. And now I'm gonna cut off all the extra. Dropping glue sticks. So I'm just gonna trim these. And then I'm gonna trim the top. I think it's so cool when you can trim it and it just makes it like perfect. My aluminum foil is so shiny. Alright, great. So I'm moving on to my next section. Hopefully you've been able to get a section or two done and you see it coming together. I'm gonna do tissue paper. Again, tissue paper is a great thing that you can rip up and do pieces because it's so easy to tear. So I'm gonna rip mine up. I'm gonna put a little bit of glue on here. Again, I just do a little bit of glue at a time so that it doesn't dry up on me as I work. You can rip the tissue paper and you can even like crumple it up into like little pieces and you can push it down because that's gonna make it 3D, so 3-dimensional, which means it's just gonna make it look like it's sticking off of the hot air balloon, which I really like the look of. So let me kind of show you so that if you wanna do something like this, it's like you can touch it. So I'm gonna keep going. If you can, it's really best to try to cover up all the white plate. If you can't, sometimes it shows through, like when I did my butterflies on my first one, they had white around them, that's okay too. But it will look really great if it can be all colorful. But I know that can be hard. This tissue paper actually has some glitter in it as well. So it's gonna look really cool because it's gonna look like it's shiny just like my aluminum foil. Let's see. So we're just gonna keep crumpling and pushing it down, or coloring, or whatever else you're doing. And then just keep working. And kind of watching it all come together. Start to look like a real hot air balloon. Let's see. I didn't do tissue paper like this on my last one, and I really like it on this one. It looks so cool. I think I might have actually done it on the last one, but I did it flat. I didn't crumple it up. Crumpling it up just adds a different effect. When you finish yours, you're definitely going to have to send me a photo so I can see what you did and how it came out. That's like the best part for me. On the bottom part of this section. I'm just going to push it down so that the glue catches it. And again, I'm stopping at the bottom where that rectangle is because I think I might do pom-poms there again. I really liked it on my last one. So there you go. So you can kind of see that, like the 3D that I was talking about. See, when I hold it this way, you can see it coming off the plate. I love that. Very cool. So that's just tissue paper crumpled up and then pushed down. So I have 3 more sections left, so let's keep going. Working hard on this craft, but it's gonna be amazing. I think I definitely want to use the cotton balls that I've just stretched out so they look like clouds, really. And then I'm gonna put, this one gets a little tricky because I have glue on my hands and now my cotton balls are sticking to me. I'm just gonna put glue on this part. And then the best thing about these cotton balls I found is that they just like stretch. So if you only have a little and you want to use a lot, just stretch it out. It doesn't have to be a ton. And if you're like me and you're using a glue stick that's purple, don't worry. Remember that it dries clear, so it won't show the purple underneath. I'm always like, oh, the purple's still there, but it does dry clear. All right, so again, I'm just fluffing this up. And I'll show you. Looks like a cloud with a purple tint because of my glue, but that's still drying. So you can kind of see it that way. Another 3D texture. Something popping off. Let's see. Cotton balls kind of remind me of cotton candy. That would be cool if I colored my cotton balls. I could do like pink and blue like you have for cotton candy. That makes me think of like carnivals and fairs. So fun. Probably like a festival that you would actually see hot air balloons. I don't know if you've actually ever seen one, but they're really cool in real life. I've gone to a festival. There was a bunch of them in the sky. Never been in one. You have to tell me if you think you would ride a hot air balloon. Would that be fun for you? I have clouds all over me. All right. So let's finish up this piece. Trying to get the clouds off. Cotton bubbles. Okay. So there is my other section. It's white, so it's hard for you to see, but I'm about to put something on the end there, so it'll pop out more to you. All right. So the two things I have left for the balloon are some glitter glue that I got at the Dollar Tree. It just dries glitter, so it's kind of like a glitter marker, so that's how I'm using it. And then I have feathers. The feathers I might have to trim, so that might get a little tricky. So I'm gonna start with my glitter glue. So I'm gonna put it over here near my clouds, and I'm just pouring it out, and then I'm spreading it out with the tip of the pen. If you have a paintbrush and you wanted to do that, maybe you're painting one of your sections, that's an awesome idea. So I'm gonna finish this. Now you will see I put it on kind of thick, that's because I wanted it to cover a lot of it so you could see it, but that does mean it's gonna take a little bit longer to dry. And hopefully I won't stick my hand in it. So now you can kind of see that the cotton balls are there, they're white, but you can see that they're there next to my glitter section, which I love. So my last section is gonna be feathers. So I have my big bag of feathers. I think I'm gonna use my glue stick again. I didn't really need my liquid glue this time. Now, let's see. As you get closer to the edge, you probably do have to use smaller, feathers everywhere. You probably have to use smaller textures. So I might have to trim these a little. I'm thinking maybe I'll just do orange and purple. Because you can see here, what I decided to use on the edge was ribbon, shiny ribbon. And then these are just smiley stickers. Oh, there you go, you can see them. Stickers were great, and I just folded them over on the edge. You could cut them off too. All right, let's try this and see. Oh, I have my sequins. I'd rather use sequins. More shine. So again, I'm just doing a little bit at a time. Let's see if I can just sprinkle them on and then push them on. Let's see how this works. Let's see. Might take us a few minutes, but it's gonna look really cool. Sometimes that's what I find. We have to have patience when we do crafts, but if we have patience and we work really hard, those are some of my favorite crafts. They come out the best. Because it did take some time. Like later today, when you have this hanging up somewhere in your house, you're gonna say, I worked really hard on that, but it came out so cool. All right, so that's kind of, I put my hand in the glitter, called that one. All right. Fix it. There's my sequins. You can see those. So we're gonna continue with the sequins. Got my glitter glue on my tissue paper. This would also be a really cool gift if you know somebody who's stuck at home, like they're not leaving, or if someone's not feeling well, then you could always make this for them. They could hang it in their window. So maybe you want to make another one to give away to someone. That would be really cool. We all love getting gifts. I'm so excited to see what these are going to look like when we hang them up in the window or on our walls. I had cut out clouds to hang up with mine on my wall so it looked like it was like floating in the air. You could make birds flying by it. You could make a whole little scene. If you do anything like sequins or confetti or glitter, it's just best to sprinkle it and then move it around. All right. How's that? Confetti. Sequins. It is a party, so. All right. Not gonna touch my glitter. So there are our sequins. That's all shiny. The sun is just making my hot air balloon glow. All right. Next step is the bottom part. So I want to do feathers. Again, I used pom-poms and I loved it. I think I might still use pom-poms. I'm going to try with my glue stick and see if it stays. If not, I'll use my liquid glue because this is the last thing I'm doing on my hot air balloon. So if it needs to dry, it can. But let's try. So you're just going to cover it all. I would try to keep your knots to the side of your hot air balloon so that you can still have your strings like moving. So I'm just putting glue stick down and squishing the pom-pom. Oh, it might stick. Let's see. Sometimes crafting is experimenting. You don't really know until you try. So I wasn't really sure. I couldn't remember what I used last time. Let's see. And I'm trying to use different colors because I just like the way that looks. So here, I'll show you. Don't worry if one of my pom-poms falls off, I'll glue it again. Here is, you can see it goes straight across. So I'm trying to kind of cover up. It's okay, some of my strings are still here, that's fine. I could do another pom-pom. Maybe I'll try to fit a small one in there. Do some glue. It's totally up to you, however you want it to look. That's what's most important. It doesn't necessarily have to look like mine. Sequins, still finding sequins. We find those all day. All right, so you can see here, I did cover up my string. These strings, I guess I should be more specific. So I'm gonna keep filling in this bottom rectangle. My masterpiece is coming along. All right. More glue. Let's see. Okay. Pushing it on. I found so many cool pom-poms, like at the Dollar Tree and stuff like that, some that have spots on them. It kind of makes any crafter making really fun. I know there's different sizes too, which is good for crafts like this, because you might have wanted smaller ones. Alright, I'm on my last row of pom-poms, so I'm going to end up doing 3 rows of pom-poms on my bottom here. Bottom portion of my hot air balloon. You're just essentially going to cover up that bottom part. Again, you want to try to cover up all the white. Don't worry if you can't. It's just something we're trying to do. I think I'm using 8 textures. You might only have 7. Just pick your favorite one. Is there one you really like from the top? You could do it down here on the bottom. Alright, last pom-pom. So happy my glue stick worked. Still waiting on my glitter glue to dry though. Alright, here is my finished hot air balloon. The hot air balloon's finished, but my basket isn't. Alright, so now, if you're up to where I am, that's great. If not, keep working on your hot air balloon. The next step we're gonna do is I'm gonna cut out my person. I'll show you. My person is really me. I know who the person is. It's me waving, and so I'm gonna cut out around my fingers right now. If you don't have a cutout of yourself waving, totally fine. Instead, draw yourself. But try to draw like a hand up, so you're like waving out of the basket. And then cut it out just like I'm doing, and we're gonna stick it in our basket. So right now, let's work on drawing it or cutting it out, whichever one you're doing. And if you wanna draw one now and maybe later you can take a picture, you can do that too. You can always change it out. Maybe you're really good at like comic books or writing stories. If you want to do a speech bubble, if you know what that is, you could do a speech bubble of saying something like, look out below, or hello from above. Whatever you think you'd be saying if you were in a hot air balloon, that'd be really cool. Or maybe you want to draw you with friends and have all of you in the hot air balloon. You could do that as well. That would be kind of cool, have like a hot air balloon party. Maybe you want your dog or your cat to be in the hot air balloon with you. Do whatever you want. All right. So I'm going to give you a few more minutes to finish up cutting out your person or drawing your person. I'm just going to put some of my supplies away, and then I'm going to show you how we attach it. And again, if you used a really cool texture or something that you found that you loved, share it in the comments so that other friends can see it. And if you really liked making the hot air balloon, maybe you tell your friend and they can watch the video and they can make it. All right, so next what we're gonna do is we have to insert our little person into our basket. So what I'm gonna do, how I'm going to do this, is I'm gonna put glue on the back side of my person. I'm just gonna do a very little around the bottom. So I'll show you exactly what I mean. You don't want glue on the whole back because your person is gonna be sticking out of your basket. But you wanna be able to secure it in there. So that is what you're doing. You're just putting a little bit of glue on the bottom. And then you're gonna slide it into your pouch or the basket. And you're gonna push it up against the back basket wall, or that pouch wall that we had. So put it in however you want. It's funny, my fingers are actually curling on my paper person. Looks like I'm waving. And I'll show you what it should look like. I'm in the basket, waving. So ta-da! How cool is that? Looks like I'm floating through the air. Now the last part, this is totally optional. I didn't do this before, but I know that this is a fun idea. You can draw like squiggly lines or straight lines. I'll show you on here so you have some options. If you want it to actually look like a basket. Take a brown crayon and do this. You could do it with a pencil. I know some of the baskets have like cool ribbon on them. Maybe you want to write the name of your basket. Whatever you want to do. But see, I actually did that. So you have that option where you can draw lines on it. You can draw whatever you want on it. Maybe later today you do some research and you look up a hot air balloon to see what the baskets actually look like. Or you can keep it plain. And this one I actually sometimes put the string around my hand. You can do that. So there you go. So that's your multi-textured hot air balloon. Make sure you share it with me. I want to see what you created. I want to see your textures. I want to see your person. I want to see it all. If you share it, you can share it to our Facebook page, our Instagram. Use the hashtag PNP. So the letters PNP Makers Club, all one word. So if you use that, I'll be able to see it. I'll definitely comment on it. I'm super excited. And join us tomorrow at the same time, so 10:30 tomorrow morning, I'll be back. We're gonna do Owl Corner bookmarks. And I've said it before, this is one of my favorite crafts. No matter what age you are gonna wanna do this craft. Also, if you had so much fun today, tell your friends. They can log in tomorrow. All they need is construction paper and markers. Tomorrow is a great craft for them to join us at 10:30. Have them like our page and follow it. We have directions on there so that you can be notified when we're going live. But we're just so excited. This whole week is going to be filled with crafting and partying. So we hope you come back tomorrow. And if you need to watch any of these on replay, they're going to be available. Tell your friends that as well. If they can't make 10:30, that's fine. They can watch it later. But still share it with me because I want to see what you're creating. You saw mine and I want to see yours. Have fun crafting.